success, the Tar Heels, Duke, but they haven't had much pro success. Cam Newton, 7 years in, I don't like his self-awareness. I don't like his touch. I don't think he has a refined pocket presence. Okay, there's a lot of chaos in this league. This is what it is. It's a lot of style. He's known more now for his celebration than his wins. When can the Cam Newton fanboys and the Carolina media just be honest about this?
Welcome back. Tony Gonzalez still here, and we're joined now by Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. Let's move to Pittsburgh, where Ben Roethlisberger expressed regret over the Steelers' choice to stay in the tunnel during the national anthem, saying in a statement he lost sleep over the decision. Meanwhile, Mike Tomlin explained today why he was on the field during the anthem away from his players.
I didn't even talk to the team about it. I just suggested to them, as I heard the rumbling Saturday night, that if they intended to do something, that I suggested that they be 100% in the same ways that they've been 100% prior to last week. I didn't talk to the team in any way about my intentions. My intentions were irrelevant. I just wanted to make sure that those guys were solid and undivided in divisive times. I had a job to do, man. I got to coach a football team.
Some of the players that the president goaded them in some ways into where we are today.
Those are my feelings. Those are my feelings. These guys are football players, man. They don't partake in politics. All they largely want to do, man, is kick that ball off and play. But things are happening around them that apply pressure to them. Whether they feel like they're being goaded and that's your perception, or there's another perception that those that oppose some of his statements are applying pressure to players to demonstrate. And I'm opposed to both factions, to be quite honest with you. I'm an advocate for players. I'm an advocate for those who simply want to do their jobs.
Interesting. The Steelers did struggle on Sunday. They've struggled throughout the season. Tomlin's interesting. Now, Big Ben called out the coach last year about the practice regimen, about preparation against Dallas. I thought yesterday he called him out again, essentially. There's something going on here. What do you make of it?
I got mixed feelings because I wish that Mike Tomlin was talking about, hey, 100% we're all doing the same thing, but he had plans on doing something different. He was the players were all going to stay in the tunnel, but he was going to go out on the field. I think that's a mistake. You're the captain of that ship. You need to be with the other passengers on that ship. However, what he just said there, I do believe his intentions were appropriate and honorable. I do think he's the only person in the NFL that I've heard so far to be completely transparent. There are guys in the NFL that just want to play football, collect their check, take care of their family, and go home. And there are a bunch of people from the outside and some on the inside trying to force these guys into politics. There's a lot of people. Colin, I refuse to watch most of the cable news networks. I don't like politics. I get hammered for the fact I've never voted. There are people like me that just want to let other people handle that, do that. I don't spend all my time worried about that. And so I respect Mike Tomlin's position of, let's don't try to force these guys to do anything. Let's get back to what we're here to do, play football, collect this check, and then use your check to support whatever movement you want to support. But trying to force all these players into being statesmen and spokesmen is a mistake.
I think football, by and large, is hard. That's why you have one game a week. It's hard physically. You got a playbook like that. I mean, Mike Tomlin has won Super Bowls, yet tried to trip a player. Sometimes I think he gets out-coached. Big Ben calls him out. I think he's the best coach, however, at the podium in the entire league. Maybe in my life. He's the best guy at the podium. He has almost a player feel to him. I think he's being completely authentic. I've been highly critical at times where I thought he got out-coached, and sometimes I think his culture is too emotion. They go on the road, they don't have the crowd, and they're awful. They've been awful a lot this year. And I think he's stating something that there's not a lot of BS with Tomlin. No. Like, honestly, he couldn't help himself. He almost tripped a player during a game. He is the most raw, authentic coach in the league. I don't think he's the best coach. I think he's okay. But I think what you were seeing there, that's Tomlin. Completely, utterly honest. He used words we put on the air yesterday, and I'm not even sure we beeped it out. that I've never heard a coach say at a podium.
We didn't beep it out. I heard it. The cuss word.
I mean, that in a nutshell is the most honest, raw coach in this league, being totally who he is.
I love it. I absolutely love it, because at the end of the day, we're going to always question somebody's leadership style. But we can't, if we're not in that position, if we're not put in their shoes, we don't know how we would really respond. We can say from a distance, from behind this desk, what he should have done or what he should not have done. But given being in that situation, we heard him say, you know what? I told them they had the opportunity to make the decision themselves. Once he found out that they hadn't made that decision and they weren't all in agreement, then I made the decision that I felt was best for my team. Now, whether or not he should have been in the locker room with them, I agree with you there. Yes, everyone, if you're going to make that decision, everybody, your coaching staff, everybody should be off the field.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Go.
Well, you know, he really reminds me, and I like him. I think he is unbelievable at the podium. Obviously, I never played for him, but from what I can see, he reminds me of Herman Edwards, where that emotional guy, great on the podium, authentic, seems like he's always telling the truth. And one thing but I played for Herm, so I know how it was outside of that. So I can only assume that he maybe is the same way. And what I think it is that he wants players to be men. That was one thing about Herman. To a fault, I thought. That's my only complaint about Coach Edwards, is that sometimes I was like, man, why don't you go handle it? Like, don't treat us like men, because some of us can't act like men. Some of us can't make that decision. We need that authority figure. We need that team leader. And so that's where I would say, the only thing I would tell Tom, if I could go back in a time machine, I would tell him, look, I think you do need to be in the locker room, because you can't just leave it up to them. Some of them are incapable.
Well, some are 22 years old.
They're 22 years old. They're right. They just want to play football. You are right. Therefore, go in there and guide them to a decision and help them.
That's a really good call.
I think he tried that, Tony, and tried in terms of creating a space for everybody to be who they are, and he's really frustrated. Again, Tomlin's in a big season for himself as a head coach and for this team, this window with Ben Roethlisberger. And I guarantee you there are a lot of coaches feeling like Tomlin today, like, damn, I just can't coach my football team. I'm in here arguing politics with guys on my team, and he's not qualified to do it because it's not his passion.
You know, it's interesting, Jason. You said something last week on this show, and we all kind of went, whoa, that you thought Pete Carroll was losing the locker room. Pete Carroll and Tomlin, to me, are the same guy. High emotions, want players who are men, are going to let players have a real opinion. It's almost a player-driven locker room. Both teams are great at home. When they can't plug in the home crowd, they're not the same on the road. And in both instances, could you argue that Tomlin and Pete Carroll's locker rooms are kind of disjointed now with this?
They are, but Colin, I'll just say this. It's hard for me to blast them because the entire media is demanding these guys. Let them be free. Let them do whatever you want to do. Because if you come in there with that old school coach mentality, I'm going to make the call, we're my way or the highway, you get blasted for that. You're an overseer. You're racist. It's not, the players in the NBA are more empowered. We got to give the players the power. It's not like the NBA. Well, when the NBA makes as much money as the NFL, come talk to me.
Yeah.
And so I get so tired of this. Let a coach be a coach and teach some of these young men how to be men and lead them and guide them. And everybody get the hell out of the way. Everybody from a distance from their little Ivy League campus towers, a house.